Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. If you are getting a strong feeling of deja vu today, you are not going mad. Indeed, of the two of us, I am the one with the questionable mental health. I made exactly this same video in the middle of 2023. At that time, I felt my collection had become just too big at 75 plus watches, and I was also trying to raise a bit of capital to start EREBUS, which indeed Stephen and I did. We launched the Origin a couple of months later in October 2023. This time, it's a little bit different. I am again trying to raise capital for a new project, but the project is different. It's going to start small, but will probably end up pretty big, and it's the type of thing that can suck up a lot of cash without seemingly giving you anything back for your investment. Well, not in the short to medium term at least. Yes, that's right, my wife and I are having another baby, and it's another boy. Pray for us. John Jr. number 2 arrives in 5 weeks' time, so it's probably not a bad time to gather up a little bit of cash before a small angry creature spends it all. And that's just my wife. She doesn't watch these videos, which is just as well. She's going on maternity leave for a number of months, so a bit more cash in the bank would be appreciated by everyone. So I've had a clear out of watches that I just wasn't wearing at all levels within my collection, as you'll see from the AliExpress box right up to my top box. Indeed, I have sold 2 watches from my top box, including one that nobody, not even one single person watching this video, will be surprised that I sold. Can you guess possibly what it is? And there is one more watch in my top box that might be on the chopping block. I need you to give me some advice as to whether or not I should sell it. So what have I sold already in this baby-inspired clear out? What got the chop? Let's start with my 10-piece AliExpress box. There's not a huge amount of money in the box, but every little helps, as they say. I kept 7, but I did sell, or I'm in the process of selling 3. Those being the San Martin Tropical Dial, the Seastern Doxa lookalike, and the Mercure Star Wheel. All great watches, but just weren't being worn, so they were all moved on. And I even sold a bunch of Casios. Now, you get next to nothing for a Casio because you pay next to nothing for one in the first place, and yet I managed to sell, or am selling, the Manga G-Shock, the Full Metal G-Shock, the Gold AQ800, my old basic DW5600, the Yellow Edifice, one calculator watch, and the MR200W. And I even put a fresh battery in that one the day before I sold it for the new owner. I gotta say though, it is probably the micro brand middle that has taken the biggest hit in this cull this year. I had a proper clear out. I think I sold 4 out of my 8 micro pieces. Like I said, it is never 100% without emotion or without regret that I sell a watch. There are a few in here that made me wince when I listed them, but nappies don't buy themselves, so they were listed. The Fera Thurso was a watch I really enjoyed. I took it on holiday with me to Bali last year and had a great time with it, so I guess we'll always have those memories together. Or should that be apart because it got sold. Phoebus GMT, again, this one has accompanied me on several trips, but won't be accompanying me on any future trips. Likewise, the Vario Empire GMT, a few tinges there, especially as I had managed to wear the Empire at the top of the building that inspired it in New York last October, but I just wasn't wearing it enough to justify hanging onto it. Now, the Formex Essence Leggera was a watch that I wore a lot, but not for a while. So again, one with plenty of happy memories, but no more in prospect because it's now owned by somebody else. That somebody else is actually also called Jody. We've done plenty of watch trades back and forth in the past, so at least it went to a namesake. And I sold my Dorenzo DRZ 02R no date in burnt orange. Look, there is a bit of me that would love to have 5 or 6 Dorenzos in a box. I love Sergio's designs, but there's another bit that enjoys having a positive bank balance. So yeah, the latter bit won. It is a great watch though, but one I never really wore because I was too frightened to get it scratched up because it was so pretty. It would have done better, I think, in a much smaller collection, and I hope the new owner actually does it justice rather than keeping it in a box, because I wasn't kidding when I said it was a future classic. What else then? Well, it wasn't just the micros that got the chop. I did cull a few big brand pieces as well, including my rose gold Mido Multi-Fort Big Date. Lovely, lovely watch, and indeed I've got a new Multi-Fort in for review shortly. I found this one a surprisingly versatile all-rounder. It was such a pleasure to wear, and it certainly opened my eyes to a different side of Mido. But it still got chopped. As did my Peacock Black Hole Central Tourbillon, my designated crazy left fielder in the collection. What time was it anyway? Who knows? Seikos, there's pretty much a permanent churn, a permanent rotation on my Seikos, all bar about 5 or 6 of them anyway. And indeed, the Darth speed timer that I bought last October hung on for 6 months or so, but got the chop at the end of Q1 2025. That just leaves my big box. Now, there's a slight cheat here because I did sell my white dial Citizen Chronomaster, but then I replaced it immediately with a black dial Citizen Chronomaster. So does that count? Probably not, because it ended up costing me money to make the switch. But there is one other watch missing, gone, that will be of no surprise to anyone, and a second watch that I'm considering chopping that will probably be a surprise to everyone. Well, the first one, you probably guessed it already. I am now 6 bought and 6 sold when it comes to Oris Divers 65s. The Caliber 400 was a technical marvel with its 5-day power reserve and its 10-year warranty, but I never really gelled with the grey dial version. It just lacked a little bit of something that the Deauville dial and the bronze dial version that I have owned numerous of previously had. It just kind of lost a bit of the magic in that particular version. However, I am already in preliminary negotiations with a certain Mr. P to buy what would be my third bronze bezel Oris 65, which again will surprise nobody at all. Oh, the madness. So no surprises there then. The surprise is I'm considering, at least considering, listing my Tudor Black Bay 58. Now, this was ostensibly a gift to myself in late 2022 to celebrate completing 10 years of university. But it hasn't really left the box since late 2023. So I decided that on that basis, I could sell it and then just buy another one if I regretted it. I don't know though. Now, it may seem strange selling the watch that commemorated my midlife university marathon, but I didn't do 10 years of study to buy myself a watch. I did it for the qualification, for the education, and for the huge change in how I feel and how I view myself as a consequence of having done it. And that won't change regardless of whether or not I have the watch. But what of the case back? I hear you cry. What of that gorgeous inscription that Mr. X got done for me, specifically telling me not to sell the watch? Well, the case back also fits the Ranger, so I could just swap the two of them over and hopefully nobody would notice. So what do you think I should do? Leave me a comment. Should I be pragmatic and should I sell the Tudor and get a decent amount of money into the baby fund? Or should I be romantic and hang on to it instead? I don't know what to do. I guess I'm in no rush. I have sold a considerable number of other pieces, so I don't have to do anything about this one quickly, at least. I have found myself, though, over the last 5 years wearing dive watches less and less and wearing three-handed sports watches more and more. If I sell the Tudor, I'm going to be left with no big hitter dive watches in my top box. Look, who knows where my taste will go over the next 5 years. Maybe I will drift into dress watches, but for now, I'm just not that into divers, hence why I'm considering selling. So there you have it. That's what's gone, and that is why they have gone. This is John Wood Jr. #1. He's now 3 and he is utterly mental. So I'm well aware of the bomb that is going to drop on my life on June the 18th. And I gotta say, I'm looking forward to it. Well done for making it all the way to the back end of the video. If you want to see my full collection as it was in December, click here, pre-cull, or if you want to watch the cull from 2023, check this video. I will check you in the next one.